filthy animal.
And I got to make sure to have
that
it
was
volume
not a
down on
real
the YouTube.
though.
And I'm not going to say greetings and salutations. Just
because that's actually good, but I just don't like how you say it. It's like labored.
All right.
Good evening, Fräuleins.
All right, we're live, so give me a second here. Hey.
I'm just saying.
We're live, and I got to can this too in the other app, so. All right. Greetings and salutations. Another edition of Vikings Weekly from the Man Cave with the guys from Man Cave Sports. I got Bear Liath and Steve and Brian with me, known in some circles as the Three Stooges. Here to recap the Vikings Monday Night Football victory over the Chicago Bears in a game that I was fortunate enough to attend. Had a great time there. Vikings pulled out the victory 30-12 over the Bears in a game that started out with fireworks. The atmosphere was outstanding. But the second and third quarter got pretty boring, to say the least. Neither offense could get the ball moving, and the crowd, I'll tell you what, the crowd, unfortunately, started to get a little restless. Towards the end of the third quarter, the Vikings got back in it, got the offense rolling, started running the ball well. Sam Darnold started hitting his targets a little better. Wasn't his best game, but it was an efficient game. And ultimately, the Vikings were victorious. So, Steve, I'll start out with you because you had a different view of the game than I did. What did you see on Monday night?
Yeah, it for an 18-point win, it really was, like you said, it was kind of, okay, let's go, guys. Because it really wasn't until, the second half there that we really kind of got things going. And it definitely wasn't Sam Darnold's best night. He was inaccurate. He was, I don't even think it was his feet. I think he was just a little bit too inaccurate. I think, watching the game, though, just the tenor of the game, what was coming through the TV, it was like once the Vikings started scoring, once we got to 10 points, I think everybody you could feel it. Like, there was no question. The announcers, the way they were talking about it on TV, Aikman and Buck, the way that they were talking, it was just like, okay, we got to 10-0, and then it was like, all right, this isn't even And so I think just because it was almost like a boa constrictor game, I call them before, where it's like the Vikings got that lead and then they just kind of clamped down and slowly kind of strangled them out. There really wasn't much of anything. Chicago wasn't doing much. We could have had a lot of excitement. Randy. If JJ doesn't drop that ball, and walks into the end zone, I mean, he definitely, that would have been some fireworks. I think that people would have gone nuts. And I think there would have been a difference. But I mean, we kind of, it was a bit of a defensive effort up until, end of the third going into the fourth. And, we held them to 1 for 12 on defensive efficiency. Like, they didn't get anything. They were 1 for 3 on fourth downs. Caleb was running all over, and really, honestly, a different quarterback probably would have lit us up a little bit more because he missed a couple touchdown shots. So I think we got a little bit lucky there. So, I mean, it was just one of those games that you when you look at the score, you're like, really? 30-12? You guys won by 18? But it's like, yeah, but it was just kind of the first 3 quarters were just kind of a slog. We just didn't hit that dagger shot to put them away, until Aaron Jones got in the end zone, and then Akers gets in the end zone, and then it would really everybody was like, okay, good. Everybody kind of, was like, all right, that's what we need to see. So, yeah, it was a bit of a slog, and it was one of those ones, I think, for us Vikings fans, made us nervous because, okay, 3-0, 10-0, okay, but then it was 13-0, and then, we were missing some things that we shouldn't be missing. So it was just, when it came to our offense, and our defense was playing just fine, but, the Bears were moving well enough between the 20s to make people nervous. And I think, honestly, that was the big thing of the game, is that for us Vikings fans, we kind of felt nervous because we weren't sure, if we were going to hang out, or if this was going to be one of those ones where we shoot ourselves in the foot. Up until the end of the third quarter, there we weren't. I don't think people were feeling super confident yet. So yeah, it was kind of a weird game because again, we won by 18. That most circles, that's blowing somebody out. You win by 3 scores, but it was a bit of a slog. So yeah, I loved it as far as, hey, we took care of them, we took care of business. We had the big Randy Love Fest. You had Vanilla Ice on the field, which was kind of interesting. But yeah, we keep rolling. It wasn't aesthetically as pleasing as people might like it, but at the end of the day, you beat a division rival by 18 points. How can you complain? Nothing.
I am going to kind of add on to that. I'm not nervous and negative, Steve. That game wasn't in question at all. And do you know why, Mr. Steve?
Why?
Evil.
Yes, blank check. B-flow. That when we stopped it right away, it was over. And it was by far not a good game for Sam Darnold. But I saw him hit his hand a couple times. I mean, I wasn't in the prime seats of multifaceted millionaires like Mike Letourneau that can retire at 50. But I watched it on there, and it wasn't his best game. But when Swifty got shut down there, I thought it was over, and I don't think there was really any sense of urgency after that. There was 0% chance, as far as I was concerned, watching it. Only thing I was worrying about is I was down 40 points in the fantasy playoffs. And
playoffs?
Vikings.
I'm not in those playoffs, by the way.
Yeah, you deserve to. Just saying, just going on record. I love you, Mike. But yeah,
I got my ass kicked in fantasy.
There was nothing in question. And I'll tell you, MVP of the NFL, I don't want to hear about Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen. B-Flow should win the MVP. Mike Letourneau.
All right. Like I said, the atmosphere.
I'm consistent.
The atmosphere was great. Obviously the Vikings coming out of the tunnel, JJ coming out, that was electric. And fortunately, I was sitting on the other side of the scoreboard from Joe Mauer. Did live stream that. I think he was on TikTok or Twitter. But yeah, I mean, Joe was literally just on the other side of the scoreboard at the Gallahorn. So, I mean, the atmosphere was great. Most people in white. There were quite a few Bears fans. I was actually surprised at the amount that were there. In regards to the Vanilla Ice halftime show, it was interesting. And if you haven't seen it, look at our Facebook page, Man Cave Sports. I did live stream it there.
Where do I find that? Because I didn't. I wanted to see Vanilla Ice. I was very disappointed.
On our Man Cave Sports site on Facebook. Wow. Be naughty.
I'm invested.
I'm writing that down. On December 18th, be naughty. Did not. Okay. Anyways. But yeah, we live streamed it. Got quite a few views and whatnot, some reaction, but it was kind of I'm not gonna say sad to see, but that crowd was pretty listless over the performance. He was trying to get everybody to sing. Like I said, check out the video. You'll see. And unfortunately, and since you're in the business, Mr. Naughton, and you know a thing or two about a thing or two, for whatever reason, his sound check.
I'm gonna snap back to that. And I'm gonna record that.
Oh God!
I'm going to play it for you over and over again.
No, I'm going to delete this recording. You'll never be.
Yeah, you probably should.
The tech nerd that you are. But anyways, 3 different times there was some horrendous feedback as he was out there singing, but he could not get the crowd to repeat anything he said because he would say stuff or like
he was going for it too.
Like even during Ice Ice Baby, I think the crowd was just like, you got to remember because. Not to age us, but Vanilla Ice was popular, Brian, when you and I were young. Steve, you were probably still in elementary school.
Or in diapers. But
yes,
the crowd didn't stop and collaborate and listen at all?
Yes. But Vanilla Ice's prime, I think, was 35 years ago. And this was before Suge Knight held him over a hotel balcony by his legs and had to sign his rights over to him. for the young kids out there will have no idea what we're talking about. Like they say, Google that shit. But anyways, the Vanilla Ice thing, to me, it was nostalgic. It was cool to see. It's good to see that, Robert Van Winkle can still go out and make a buck off of
Is that his name?
Yes, you did
Yeah,
not know
that's
that?
crazy.
Robert Van Winkle. Not to be confused with his great grandfather Rip.
Rip.
Yes. But anyways, enough of Vanilla Ice. If anybody's watching this live, they probably dropped off now because it's just like, what the hell are the three? What the hell are the Three Stooges doing talking about Vanilla Ice? Well,
That's
Vanilla Ice was relevant. A lot of people, including the people in the crowd, probably didn't know who the hell he was. But anyways, I digress. Let's get back to the Vikings here. So rather than go to the Seattle preview, let's just let's just close out the Vikings game with our usual fare for the week. I'll just start out with the unsung hero of the week. And it is not a Viking. It is Mr. Tyreek Stevenson. You remember Tyreek Stevenson, don't you?
You're good.
If you watched, I believe it was when this whole skid started for the Bears. Mr. Stevenson was that asshole that was out there taunting the fans and blew the Hail Mary at the end of the Washington game.
0-8 since then.
What's that? 0-8 since then. So Mr. Stevenson has already cursed the Bears in a season. I believe that where they start out 4-2. I mean, the Bears came out looking semi-legit, and Caleb Williams has had a pretty good rookie season. He didn't look his best on Monday, but nonetheless, Caleb Williams definitely got some talent. Now, optically, I didn't see that at the game, but I seen him laying on his side on the bench, and he's getting a lot of shit from the Chicago fans, which
he deserves it.
Perhaps he should. But Mr. Stevenson had the audacity, and the last asshole I remember doing this there was Sean Payton right before the Minneapolis Miracle. And it's just like, you do not come into US Bank Stadium and mock the skull chant. It's just so it was just a prelude to the disaster of a game that they would have and he would have. If I'm not mistaken, he had a pass interference against Addison after that. So Tyreek Stevenson, that they allowed you on the team bus and the team flight, you should be thankful. But you are my unsung hero for the week. Be naughty. Give us some of your concerns. Give us your concerns.
My concerns is health. I think that's the greatest thing that we have, other than Darisaw. I think we're in a rebuilding year waiting for JJ. And we're making chicken salad out of chicken shit with slinging Sammy D, Darnold Schwarzenegger, dude. And I think it's great. But when I saw B.O., Brian O'Neill, go down, that was a huge concern. So just in an overall thing, my concern is, I know we're fighting to beat the Lions, but playoffs are playoffs. We're there. I'm worried about health. I mean, like if Grenard went down, I mean, granted, we'd have Dallas Turner. I mean, it's just, I don't know. That's my concerns or concern. I just wish that we stay healthy. Mr. Steve.
And before you go, Mr. Steve, I will say, I know Mr. Steve very well. So when O'Neill was down during the break, I did text him right away. I did text Steve right away and say, "Hey, O'Neill got up and walked off on his own." So
yeah, but did you see that?
Yes, it was right in front of me, and I got to tell you, I was nervous as hell when he was down because it's one. We already lost Darisaw, and let's be honest,
that looked ugly.
Let's not talk about the game his replacement had on Monday night. That's one of the few sore spots. But anyways, yeah. So I like it to help because think about this. And before we get to you, Steve, look at Detroit. Now Montgomery's out for the season. Although he's saying today he'll be back, but he's definitely not going to be back to anything what he was. So I mean, Detroit, as good as they've been this year, man, they have been decimated by injuries, man. And that's
exactly
come playoff time. Think about this. Home field advantage is nice in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, in damn near any sport, if a team is hot at the right time, it doesn't matter where the hell they're playing and if they're healthy. Anyway, sorry to step on the transition, but Mr. Steve, give us your bad MFer of the game.
Yeah, there's a number of people that could qualify this week. Grenard looking all world again, top 5 in sacks, pressures, just smoking, smoking Caleb there, and Cashman picking up the fumble. I mean, the Cashman, and then you've got Metellus, who's all over the place, and you watched him, the impact he had on the run game and everything else. And Baldinger had a really cool, he called him Mutton Cash for Metellus and Cashman, and how those two work together on defense. He had a pretty cool breakdown. Brian Baldinger did. But for me, it's Tillery, number 90, big old number 99, because that guy almost personally, single-handedly plugged up the line to stop 2 fourth downs. He's the guy that got in the middle and made a logjam of it that allowed our linebackers to swarm and to get swift and to not let 2 of those fourth downs go through. So Tillery, for me, is my bad MF for the game, because sometimes it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, because it only shows like he has 1 tackle. Sometimes it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but what he did was so impactful to the game. Because let's be honest here, they actually had more time of possession than we did. The Bears did. They had, for as bad as they looked, they had I think it was like 30 seconds difference, but still they got the 30 minutes and we didn't. So extending those drives allows the weird Bear stuff to happen that we've seen in the past, the Monday night, massacres and all this other stuff that's happened to us in the past. You look at that, Tillery goes in and he sticks his face in there and he plugs up that middle, and that's a big deal. Stuff 2 fourth downs. So he's my bad MF for the game. So, for all the kids in the world, that worry about filling stat sheets, sometimes it ain't about filling the stat sheet. It's about what your impact is on the game. And those are 2 huge impact plays. So Mr. Tillery, I don't have a scepter like Good Morning Football does for their tough runs. Maybe one day we'll have a little plaque or something that we'll send out to people, a little necklace or something. But he gets my bad MFer because he stuck his face in. He went right amongst the hogs, as they used to call them in the old Washington Redskins days. He threw his face in there and plugged it up. So two stuff fourth downs, and basically that was all him.
Ow! It was B-Flow, sir.
I like it, Steve.
Blank check, B-Flow.
All right. And I know we're all about positivity here, but you kind of alluded to history with the Bears and some games that went sideways. Our next opponent is the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle on Sunday at 3:00, a game which hopefully we will have the entire Man Cave staff here in the Man Cave, in which, if we do, we definitely got to do some.
It's nice here in South Padre Island. Yeah, I don't know if coming back.
Well, once they get to know you like we do, they will send you back here with a quickness, my man. Anyways, back to Vikings football. Keep sidetracking us. It's like our pregame where we just sit.
You need Ritalin or something. Stay on track, Mike.
Yes. Stay focused. Anyways, we play the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Historically, a bad place for us, and I saw it earlier, but Steve Yarstack, as we all know. Somebody might want to correct me. If I'm not mistaken, we are 2-9 in Seattle historically. I do know we have not won there since 2006. And I can remember some real doozies of games. I remember Sean Alexander kicking the snot out of us on a Sunday night. I think he was damn near going to break the rushing record, but they got so damn far ahead of us that they might have shut him down. I'll never forget that. I was up on the North Shore for my anniversary watching that. Anyways, but historically, we've had a rough time with Seattle. Let's all even Blair Walsh aside, in Seattle, we have sucked. Haven't had a win there in 18 years. And Seattle, I believe they are 8-6. They are fighting for their playoff lives. Very close West Division where everybody's still in it. So with that said, the Vikings are 3-point favorites going into Sunday, for what that's worth. Did talk with Steve a little bit before the cast. Looks like Geno Smith looks probably, he might not even ended up at the injury report, I think you said. So Geno will be ready to go. He's had a rough season. His mobility might be a little limited, but this is a hungry team. And historically, they play well at home. Now, however, we all watched them the other day against Green Bay, and they got their asses kicked. Granted, Green Bay is playing very good football right now. So I will go first to you, Steve, and give us your thoughts on this matchup. 3 o'clock on Sunday. Like I said, hopefully we get the whole Man Cave crew here. Bring that positive energy that we're known for.
Yeah, I think that this one worries me a little bit, not because I'm Mr. Negative, Mr. Naughton, but because they're,
You are.
up until we lost the Seattle lost to Green Bay, they won 4 straight. They beat Arizona 30-18. They beat the Jets 26-21. Arizona, they beat again before that 16-6. And they beat San Francisco 20-17. So they had a stretch of division games. Division games are always tough. It doesn't matter what division you're in. And they won 4 straight before they lost to Green Bay. And arguably one of the roughest games that Seattle's had for a while. So, especially if they wear those friggin' obnoxious neon green, I don't know, the limeades, I don't know what you call it. It's a pain. It hurts. It's worse than the Smurf turf up at Boise State. It really is hard to look at.
Remember, the Timberwolves had a similar one a few years ago. In fact, I got the autographed cat jersey around the corner. That's that hideous color. But I didn't mind them on the Timberwolves, but they look like shit on Seattle. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's just too much. It's the whole body and the whole thing. It just, so I'm a little bit nervous about that. But, Geno Smith is one of these guys that he's either going to blow up or he's going to blow up one of two ways. He's going to blow up the stat sheet or he's going to blow up his team. One of the two. And so I think that our defense, again, blank check for B-Flow. I think our defense is going to make the difference in this game. Sam Darnold, we'll see what we do with it. I would love to see KOC be maybe, it's not conservative is the right word, but let's establish that run. Let's give Sam Darnold the chance to, get some handoffs, get Cam Akers going, get Aaron going, and let's get that, let's loosen that defense up. Let's bring him in a little bit and then cut him loose, right? I think that, get that offensive line moving on people, Josh Oliver, have him move some of these guys around. The only thing that scares me on Seattle is whether or not Geno gets hot. Other than that, I'm not too concerned because, they're beating teams they should beat, but they're not. They're squeaking them out, right? We haven't seen them like really blow somebody out that great this season. Like we haven't seen that this year. So up in Seattle, I think we break the curse. I think we go in there. We'll walk out. We'll get some Starbucks. We'll crank up some Soundgarden on the way home. It'll be all good. Maybe a little Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's going to be amazing. Being up in Seattle, hopefully they don't get into too many gummies out there. But I'm thinking we come back with a win. I think it might be a little bit closer than we like, but I'm thinking like 27-21, something like that. So I think we come out with a win. But yeah, it's the only thing that makes me nervous is if Geno gets hot. Okay, I was positive, Brian. I was positive.
You were hardly positive right there.
Well, I said we were going to win.
All right. Seattle Pilots, Mariners, Seahawks, Puget Sound, Steve Largent, Sleepless in Seattle. I don't give a fuck. B-Flow. Gonna be a rout. Good day, guys.
Oh, wow. Drop the mic.
Wow.
Wow. How are you going to top that?
I don't know where you go. We had this wonderful picture left hanging on the wall of some little kid in the ocean. Yes. Something either that or he crapped himself. I can't tell what's going on in that picture.
Yeah, it does look like it's the yeah. Oh wow. Well, we can't carry on, Steve. We can't top that ending.
I don't know. What am I going to do? Take my shirt off and run around in circles? I mean, what the hell? Yeah. So there's that. Mike, any thoughts on the game with Seattle?
No, I mean, I have some of the same concerns that you guys do. I'm just looking forward to hopefully getting all of the Man Cave participants in one spot for the first time ever. So we will hopefully see everybody Sunday, and we will leave with Brian's artwork.
Brian's artwork. I don't know. Is that watercolor? Is that paint by number? I can't tell.
I don't know, but thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Skull.
Skull Vikes. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, just fails.